in the interest of time, being a punctual military-based organization, we'll go ahead and start on time. And what we'll do is we're going to cover today some gardening Q&A as part of our monthly series. So every Wednesday, the first Wednesday of every month at noon, we do our monthly mailbag. So people can send us questions or ask us here in the chat, or if they don't have it, then we come up with our own ideas. So what we'll start off is just talking about kind of maintenance and kind of getting ready for the fall, and then going into winter, and even starting to think about next spring, what can we do to be successful? So Julie, do you want to just talk about some of those ideas?
Absolutely. So it's October. I'm sure your tomatoes and other crops are winding down, starting to die, getting wiped out with disease. It's a good time to start cleaning up your beds in preparation for the winter. So the first thing you want to do is remove any weeds that can harbor weed seeds, and especially weeds that propagate by the roots. Those will come up next year if you don't get them out right now. You also do want to remove any fruits and crop debris, because that can also harbor pests and disease for the following year. So once you've got your soil cleared, it's actually a great time to take a soil sample if that's something you want to do. This is especially important if you notice any deficiencies that you weren't really able to figure out over the growing season. So in addition to nitrogen being a common limiting nutrient, sometimes people are surprised by having a boron deficiency. That can especially affect crops in the brassica family like kale or broccoli. A classic boron deficiency is a hollow stem in the broccoli. That means you need to add some boron. Easy thing to fix. You do want to get it tested though, because it can become a problem if you don't have a deficiency and you add too much. So if you have questions about soil testing and you're interested in doing that, want to learn more, you're welcome to contact us. That is something we're getting started on, is a soil testing service for the upcoming year. So contact me at info@veteranCompost.com if that's something you want to learn more about. So the next thing, once you got your weeds and debris cleared that you want to do for winter prep, is think about, do I need to cover my soil? If you got a flat in-ground garden and you don't notice any terrible erosion or anything, some people just leave their garden soil bare over the winter, and that's fine. Covering has a lot of benefits though. It can improve, prevent erosion, improve soil structure, prevent nutrient leaching over winter with all the snow and rains.
If you look up like tarping farmland or tarping gardens online, I mean, that's really become more and more popular because it protects your soil, helps you manage moisture, prevents weeds from getting started. So I mean, tarping your garden, if you're not going to do a cover crop, can be really effective in making sure things are ready for when we want to get going again.
Yeah, so tarping is actually my favorite garden prep method. You can even, what I think the best thing to do is to get your bed completely prepped for the spring. This is especially helpful if you've got, a medium-sized area and you're not sure that spring's going to bring too many rains to really work compost or things like that into the soil. So get your bed completely ready, cover it with a black plastic tarp or just any garden tarp you've got laying around. You can secure it with landscaping staples or even just rocks, or you can buy sandbags, you can use old tires. There's a variety of options for holding down the tarps over the winter time. But not only does it retain nutrients, it in the spring when the weed seeds start germinating, they'll come up. They won't have any sunlight, so they'll germinate and then just die right under the tarp. So you plant into a really nice, clean seed bed that way. If you want to use natural materials for covering instead, you could use straw mulch. You could break up your leaves, use leaf mulch. Some people will shred it before they do that by running over it with a lawnmower or something like that. The one thing to look out for leaves, though, is if you've got a black walnut tree, that produces toxin that will affect some plants, particularly tomatoes. So avoid black walnut leaves in your leaf mulch if you can. Again, it's October, it's getting cold, we're getting close to the fall frosts, but we've got a pretty mild forecast for the next 10 days, so cover cropping is also an option. A lot of smaller scale gardeners don't find it worth the while because they've only got a little bit of space and they really want to maximize, getting things in early and everything. But if you do want to try cover crops, you might still have time to plant something that's really cold hardy, like cereal rye, also known as winter rye. If you get that in before mid-October, then it'll get established. It'll kind of, just go dormant over the winter time. It'll overwinter and then pick up growth again in the spring. So then you can mow it and or till it in and plant into that. Legumes are also popular cover crop choices. Crimson clover and winter peas are both fairly frost tolerant, but you might have a hard time getting them established this late.
Due to sunlight or due to temperature?
Temperature and
Because I mean, if you're in Baltimore or DC,
Yeah.
if you're in the city, where sometimes kale goes year round almost,
Yeah.
Maybe. But you'd have to get started because we are losing sunlight every day. I mean, that's the other thing working against us
Yeah.
this time of year.
Yeah, so brassica cover crops are another option. Tillage radishes or forage radishes are really popular too, and those would probably be something you can get started a little later. You missed the boat for peas, or not peas, oats and buckwheat are two other cover crop choices, but they are not very cold tolerant, so I wouldn't try those yet.
It's super, super trendy if you're a gardener and you can say, I cover crop. You're like next level, a lot of bragging rights when you do that. So, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Anything, and then how about one last thing? If we do want to keep the season going, if we are in places like DC or Baltimore, a little bit further south, Northern Virginia, where the season keeps going, in terms of season extension in a garden, maybe just a couple of ideas, straw or row cover, like low tunnels and things like that.
Yeah, so low tunnels are fun and easy to try. You can definitely still grow things that are really cold hardy, like arugula, baby kale, a lot of salad greens. I found bok choy to be very, very frost tolerant. So those are all things that you can grow over like little coop structures, and half the time you get into winter and it really stops growing, but there's something cool about being able to go and harvest something on a cold winter day. The plants will actually freeze, but they've got enough sugar in them to prevent damage. So they'll get hard, but then when it warms up again, they'll come back to life and be good to harvest. So
and
make sure you harvest.
That's people's favorite. People swear by Swiss chard and things like that in the cold weather, or spinach, right? Because they think it tastes better, right?
Yeah. So basically, what we do with salt on the roads, it what does it do? It lowers the freezing point. So instead of using salt, plants essentially, they don't have salt; they have sugar that they fix from photosynthesis. So they use sugar to lower the freezing point of their sap, and that's why they get sweeter when it's cold.
Science minute. Awesome. We love science. All right. Cool. So for next month, what we'll do is we're going to talk about maybe some indoor growing activities, some ideas of things we could do as it's cold and we want to come inside, and then maybe talk about some other things about spring prep and maybe some trends we see for the next year. We always try to stay ahead of the trend here at Veteran Compost. So appreciate everybody joining us. Hope everybody got something out of this. And if you have any questions for next month or in general, info@veterancompost.com, or you can reach us on social media. So thanks.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Have a great day.